Mike the Hobbit here,
Lowdown Brown,
inviting you to check out Geeks Under the Influence, a podcast that pairs booze with conversation with good friends.
and a little nerd culture.
We get a lot of colorful conversation out of our episodes, but it is here for everyone, no gatekeeping.
Always level up everything we do.
We'll punch up, never punch down.
Exactly.
So check out Geeks Under the Influence anywhere you get your podcasts and join us or die.
Shut the fuck up, Hobbit. Welcome to GUI Nights.
GUI Nights.
Yeah, I am Lowdown Brown. With me as always,
Mike the Hobbit.
this is the tangential side of GUI.
This is like so many of those other shows that has the after the show bit mixed with a little bit of Baywatch Nights, so it's a little sexier. It's a little bit after hours.
Also while tying it into the previous episode of GUI. So look forward to that too, because this comes out the week after the flagship hour-long episode.
So make sure to check out GUI Nights, and when you're done, you can
Go the fuck home.
The views and opinions expressed on Geekfather are those of the panelists and not those of the Geeks Under the Influence Network, their affiliates, or sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. This is for the parents and not for the kiddies.
Geekfire!
Can you try one more time? Say Geekfather real loud.
Geekfire way out! I just did it.
And welcome back. That's right, guys. It's another wacky week or other week, whatever it is. I mean, you can tell we're starting strong this episode here.
Wacky.
It's so wacky that, that's right, it's Scotty P here bringing all the trials and tribulations of being a geeky parent into this wild world that we live in, this wacky world, if you will, since apparently everything is going to be wacky this episode.
We're slashing prices. It's gonna be insane.
And as you can hear, my cohorts, if you will, going way off the rails even further than I think I've reached it tonight. Mr. Kyle Smash.
What's up?
What's happening, man?
Not much. Tired. Just
Yes.
so are you.
Yes. It's the
perils,
parenting,
yeah.
the parenting way.
Yeah, it's the
if you
perils
will.
of being older
Yes.
with kids.
Very, very true. God, not enough sleep these days.
I listen. I mean, I've probably said this before, and I'll repeat it till the day I die. I mean, I don't think I stopped sleeping well as soon as my kid was born. It was like I never actually slept properly ever again. Even on vacation, for some reason, my body's just like, nope, you're not going to sleep properly.
A noise.
You're going to have
a
some
thought,
concern. Yeah, noise,
something.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there. And of course, guys, it definitely doesn't help as well that we're, by the time you hear this episode, you're probably going to be in a food coma of turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, and everything else because we release on Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving for this week. So, fortunately, we're recording before then, even before our normal night, just because I don't feel like recording on a holiday. I'm going to be in a food coma myself.
Oh, it'd be
sure.
absolutely worthless.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be like, Thanksgiving.
We probably barely tread water as it is, so we need to be careful.
Yeah, I was about to say, are we even breathing above water at this point, or do we just have that weird straw poking up over above the
Just
sea
get little
level?
bits of oxygen at a time, just enough to...
Just enough so the brain doesn't shut down
Exactly.
completely.
Yeah.
So, but guys, welcome back. Like I said, hopefully by the time you're hearing this, you had a great holiday. And I got to throw this out there because, of course, it always comes up, guys. Hopefully you're celebrating the holiday for what it is today, not the history behind it. So just to lay that out there, hopefully there's...
If anything, just take it from the family aspect. If you're lucky to be around people you
Exactly.
call family and you just get around the table, talk shit, maybe have some drinks, kids running around, whatever, just think of it like that. It doesn't have to be anything more or less than that.
Or, well, even to, I definitely even have friends where they're just like, that's a day for them to go, nope, that's my day to shut down. Nobody's going to bother me.
That too.
Fair, however you need to get that extra day off or whatever you got to do. So, of course, thoughts and prayers for all of our retail workers at this point. Because, again, if you're listening with the day we release, it is Black Friday.
Yeah.
So it's all the retail workers, the Hunger Games, where you hold up your three fingers and,
I don't, that coupled with a supply shortage, coupled with a staffing shortage, it's going to be interesting. Might be great. You might be able just to roll in and grab whatever you want at the hopefully if you can find it.
There's definitely going to be, I would say, especially after last year where we had the heavy COVID times, the quarantine, there's probably going to be just as much online shopping, I would say, this year.
Probably more. I'd imagine. I mean, I know I did pretty much all my shopping online.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense that we would go. I know that they're not open on Thanksgiving, which is good. That I never thought that these huge stores needed
that's
to
always
be
been
open.
ridiculous to me.
Yeah,
I mean it's
just a little, but I think I'd read today Target had announced that no, they will not be open on Thanksgiving.
Well, they've been doing that the past few years now.
But like ever again, I think it was stated like moving forward period, like it's not going to be. So
it's not just a snafu that we're doing just to be the cool guys for once. It's sticking to it. Which again, props on that. I mean, less companies are doing it. It's ridiculous.
Thank you for being less greedy.
Right.
Maybe the pandemic taught the makers and the movers and the shakers in that company and all these companies to take some sort of positive direction.
Shed some light. Of course, greed is greed. We are America and we are corporate.
Well, we're human.
Yeah, that too. So, but back to the better traditions, the more fun traditions, guys. So hopefully, whatever you do for your big meal, for your gathering or lack of thereof, hopefully you did it right. A chance to reset the brain a little bit. Hopefully you're with the people that at least communicate with, that you appreciate being around. I know sometimes it's long distance as well. So
yeah, unfortunately for some it'll be this year, but hope not as much as the previous year. So that's a good thing,
right?
You can be with, you should be able to be with your family. And
exactly,
really anytime you want, but especially on the holidays.
Yep, absolutely. So, guys, it's Thanksgiving. The things are kicking off, and one thing we were talking about before we started recording, as we wax poetic about subjects and what we're doing.
Yeah, we do. It's not like he didn't just show up, sit down, and it's like, all right.
I wish it was that easy.
We'll never be that easy.
No, I mean we hang out, we chill. We do.
Even from the early days of just being on Geeks Under the Influence. I mean, you never started when you were planning to start, and you damn sure didn't finish.
No,
and you didn't leave when you were like afterwards, unless it was like
right.
It's super important. But you stuck around and you hung out and you shot the shit. So
exactly, and of course that's the way we roll. That because we're more than just podcast buddies. We're friends.
And we're both bald. We have glasses. We understand we have kids.
But goddamn it, we are pretty.
Oh, we are.
We are pretty.
Well, you pull off the beard thing better than me, and you don't have to shave your head, which pisses me.
I don't have to, but it looks better.
Yeah.
That hairline is slowly still creeping. It's just slower than yours. That's all.
Yeah, a lot slower.
A lot slower.
I mean, mine threw out. I think mine gave up at like 25. So.
Well, I just fire mine before they quit. That's all. That's all it is.
That's what I had to. I saw it going, shaved bald.
But bald is beautiful, baby. And if you were also fortunate enough this past weekend, hopefully you sold these bald beauties at the Virginia Comic-Con. So if you're listening, hello to all you guys who stopped by the table. Was able to, started following one of our great shows. We're able to spin the wheel. Hopefully you got some great moral support. It was a prize.
It's a fun time. I mean, you never know, like, being there, people are going to be like, I don't even, like, no. Like, what? Would you have nothing to offer me?
Right, exactly. Exactly. I know we're limited on merch, but come on,
Well, it's not even that. I mean, when you look around at, like, just so much of the artistry and the people bringing, like, even the collections of the comics, it's enough to take you away from, I mean, I don't even know if you could sit and really focus on, I can't. I look around, I'm like, I jump back and forth when I'm there. But a lot of people, it was good. A lot of people came up. It was busy this year.
Well, and that's what you also get for an audio podcast. We're not, I mean, thankfully we're not visually out there. I mean, the exact thing we're
also not really for the kids either. So
well, no, I mean, it's praise be to those kids who came up and were like, oh, you could get a prize? Yes. Don't follow a show. Don't listen to a show. That's for mom and dad. Even this show, guys, it says it on the intro. It's not for the kiddies. It's for mom and dad. Yeah. So, but
which was pretty funny, you know.
It's
pretty funny when you, like, nobody knew really what to, it's like, no, don't let them. You should probably use your phone, but I don't want to tell you what to do because I feel like that's rude. So it's, I mean,
but just be aware.
Yeah, just be aware.
You know, that was probably one of the biggest things where you see a kid all of a sudden pulling out their phone, trying to scan the code, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Where's your parents? You know, where the classic, where's your mom and dad at? Or whatever it may be. Yeah, so hopefully you're of at least proper mind listening to this show, I guess is the least we could ask for, but it is what it is. We have plenty of warnings throughout everywhere with these shows.
Oh, sure.
That you know, that if a 10-year-old is listening and hearing some of the stuff we're saying, I don't know, we're covered, I guess. Is the best
I hope
way to
so.
put
I
it.
mean, I hope so.
I mean, I would think so.
I would hope there's not a 10-year-old listening to us, or at least, you know,
No,
unless they're trying to get to, like, find out how their mind works. Like, you know.
That's true. Like where would mom and dad hide the presents? Maybe I can use this random podcast to pick the brain out. No.
Well, you know, for us growing up, it was whatever information you could pick off is what you got from, like, overhearing conversations.
Oh, true.
Right. So I guess it's in similar fashion now. You can just, at least with us, you can just go
in
to
a high tech
podcast.
world, you can listen to a podcast to try to figure out how your parents function.
And, you know, I've always wondered how many dads out there, or parents, regardless, you know, like, have their own podcast going on. You know, not just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, trying to do what we're doing, just putting it out there and just having fun with it. But I wonder how many people
Very
do
much
it, you
so.
know? I bet you it's
if
more
you
than
do
I
it-
bet you it's more than enough. It's probably more than we
If you
think.
do a deep enough dive into Spotify, just on the Google search or something, I bet you could find that random show where it's just a mom and dad going, well, this year we decided to try something different and,
Right.
you know, put the presents in this spot instead of this spot, and we wrapped them this way so it wouldn't be noticeable. And
Well, I guess you got to do. Well, you got to do it on TikTok, really, if that's how you want to pick it up. Get picked up.
good Lord.
That's how you got to do it.
that's probably one of my biggest old fogey moments. It's like, I appreciate TikTok for what it is, but it's just like, does everybody forget Vine? Like, why did Vine fail if TikTok is kicking off? I guess you have more options on TikTok. I don't know.
You know, there's a good reasoning I heard about that. I came back from a show and I saw a comedian called Elijah Schlesinger, who was, and she's on the stage. She's pregnant at the time. Me and Jem go, and I'm up at home in Philly, and that particular thing was brought up, and it was just funny to hear it, you know, from.
Oh yeah.
But the reasoning was, in terms of TikTok blowing up, was the pandemic.
Oh yeah, timing.
I mean,
for sure.
it really was. It was almost like the worst thing to happen was probably the best thing to happen for them, in terms of, because everybody was using it more and more, because there was a lot of people who they were just isolated completely for long periods of time.
Gave you a chance to do something silly, have some fun.
You're putting yourself out and interacting in some form. She was right, though. I believe that we're animals, but we're animals that we need interaction with each other.
Oh, humans are
To
a
stay
social
sane,
creature
you
for the
need
most
it.
part.
I
Yeah.
don't know, we're completely social creatures, but in that way, it really showed that it didn't matter which way we need to get it. We're going to get it, even in times where you can't physically reach out and touch somebody. You can put your face on a screen.
The modern digital age.
All right, so it's just, you know, I struggle keeping up with it.
Right. Well, and to me, that's also partly choice. It's just like, I've got enough on my plate to where one day, sure, if I want to do a TikTok, and the only way I can really see myself doing it on a regular basis is to maybe have fun with the kids, figure out more, like do crazy, especially for how wild my boys will get with, like, dancing around. They love music, so like that, something like TikTok would actually be really good for them to do. But then you also, like, what, in comparison to this show, to, like, say, private page on Facebook or something, is like, I would have a very private TikTok, very limited followers and stuff like that, because the kids are out there, not trying to put them on Front Street. I don't care what the situation is.
Sure.
That's part of where my thinking is too, where I'm just like, oh, that would be fun to do that. But then it's like, parent mode kicks in. I've got to lock everything down. Who the hell is watching the video and doing this or that?
Yeah.
You know? So it's like I would love to have that fun, but at the same time, it's like, it kind of takes the fun away for having to just have security over your family, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's totally true. Even my kid's the same way. You know, they whatever she's got, you know, has to be completely. And I lose sleep thinking, going, man, I don't know am I gonna be able to keep up with this? You know, and I wonder, like, did our parents feel the same way? Probably like, I have no fucking idea what's happening. Like, I cannot keep up with your technological bullshit.
But you got to realize there's been a lot more that's happened. You know, I love how we start with this from the holidays going into what we're doing now. Yeah. But
going back in the day, like when our parents, our parents were.
But so much more of this has happened since we've been adults than when we were kids. I mean, you barely had a video camera in a house, much less anything other.
If
technical.
you did, you had money.
You had a little bit of money, or you found that just right sale, and then you're lugging this big old thing on your shoulders. So it's definitely not stealth, not, you know, it's not the same, and that's where obviously a lot. See, now that the brain is going in that direction is where a lot of them are like, well, back in my day it was so much simpler. Yeah, it was, because we just didn't have the technology didn't catch up to what people were trying to do.
You didn't have the connection. Famous had a whole different meaning.
Sure.
It almost doesn't mean anything now. I mean, to some extent it does, of course.
Yeah. Well, that's why you're a certain famous. You're not just famous, you're a certain famous. Like you're a Facebook famous.
Or influencer situation.
Right. You know, where it's just like you're not famous, but you have enough people listening to whatever shit you're spewing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, are we influencers?
I certainly hope not.
That title just sort of like doesn't sit well with me, but
no, I have no, like, I know for me, like, I have no desire to be an influencer or like famous. You know, like, if people started picking up and listening and wanted to meet, like, you know, that's all you. I'll be in the background. That'll be all you.
I am more the social interaction type person.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll stand in the background and just kind of be silent. And I'm fine with that. So maybe having that mentality and having one as a parent, you know, my kid wants to do those videos all the time, and you know, Jem does them all the time too. You know, and they're funny, and they're good, and they're well thought out. But and they're personal because I know the person doing it. And I can also, like with my kid, like I know for a fact who's what this. She's restricted on every single level. So, but she still wants to do it. And they all want to put it out there, like do these damn goddamn dances all the time. You could really just put whatever the hell you want out.
True.
You know? Some of it's creative. True. Some of it's really, really funny.
No. And that's the whole thing. I don't mean to sound like 100% negative about this. You know, I'm giving certain aspects. So much of this is very entertaining. Like people like put a lot into these videos, and it's funny to watch. And they're just like we see Jem is over there rolling her eyes at us. I know. I can see the heavy sigh, and
she's phenomenal at making them. So you know, you should go check them out.
And she's like, whatever. But also, well, one thing, because a lot of this also started talking about the Virginia Comic Con, which, again, thank you to Brett and everybody who puts that on, all the people who were working there, working the various vendors at the tables, and everybody was super nice. It was a great time. One thing that was announced just recently, which us as a group in GUI were talking about, they've officially announced GalaxyCon is coming back to Richmond in March.
Yeah.
March 18th through the 22nd, it looks like, guys. So if that's the case, of course, we got to finalize everything, but that means GUI will be having our panels back, recording some live shows, and we'll be there talking about the face-to-face. That's the plan.
Certainly hope so.
That's fingers crossed, because that's what we look forward to is, you know, we do so much audio stuff and appreciate you guys listening, but like I said, more on like my end, and if there's something a little bit different we can do for you guys, actually meet the people who are listening and talking with us, would be super freaking awesome.
And when there's something to announce, we will definitely announce it. We promise.
Yes. The plan, we've always planned on being back at GalaxyCon, but until we can make sure we're locked in with our panel slots and everything else, we'll let you guys know as soon as we know for sure. So
I'm just excited that's coming back, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Even without that, just going back, and because it's much bigger, you get, you know, more stars. It's a little like the Virginia Comic Con's great because it's intimate. And and there's a lot of like targeted things in terms of
more regional, very localized,
right? Very localized, which is great, and it's own right.
Yeah.
Like that, I love that. But I love the aspect that there, maybe I could drop a few dollars and meet a movie star would be pretty cool,
right? Exactly.
That's always a cool thought. So I'm excited out of the way. I think it's going to be great.
Absolutely. We'll be there. I would say we'll be there regardless. Even if we can't do our panels for some reason, we'll all be there in some form or another, like hanging out, doing whatever.
My kid's not going to let me not take her.
Oh, yeah,
100%. I mean, she thrives at those things. So I saw it this weekend.
Yeah.
She thrives at those things. She's probably
she loves spending your money.
They all love spending your money.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
All the kids love spending their parents' money.
Yeah, the best question I've been asked from Logan at one point was, sorry, man, we don't have the money for that right now. And he's basically like going, why? Why don't you have money? Well, because you got to earn the money and there's still bills to pay. And they're, trying to explain to a 7-year-old going, I would love to, like every parent, or just about every parent, I would love to get you everything you want to some extent. It's just not doable, man.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
She had a budget, and she followed within that budget. So
fair. No,
that's fair. She was a good dealer. She got quite a bit of stuff. I think she went and mentioned us around to a lot of vendors.
There you go.
She was going to, and that people were responding to that. So she was very excited. She was marketing for us.
Hey.
She's out there doing a little PR.
Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that at all.
No, she's our kids are going to be the future, right?
That's the goal, anyways. Mm-hmm. Hopefully for a good future, a bright future, if you will.
Well, that's going to be up to them, and that's on us.
Yes, very, very true.
Yeah.
And let's even try to segue into this, because we definitely wanted to talk about, what the future is. You were able to see Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was definitely the future of the Ghostbusters franchise. Happening.
Yes.
There.
I did.
But also I wanted to make sure, because unfortunately
Twice, son.
Fuck you. Damn it. I still haven't had a chance to see it, but we have crazy work schedules this holiday season, unfortunately. A little bit more crazy than we normally do.
Yes.
It will be seen in theaters, even if I have to go by myself, because, the wife wants to see it. Logan wants to see it. Leland is too young still. That, he's my wild boy. He won't be able to sit in a theater for nothing. But it will be seen. But even right now with Thanksgiving weekend, for those of us who don't always do the heavy shopping, or even if you do, it's not the whole time. Now is the holidays is the kicker on the movies, catching up on the old movies at home, trying to catch the new ones, some of the new drops in the theater. Mm-hmm. It's movie time, baby.
That's the best part about it, where everything kind of shuts down. You're not like, hey, let's go here, let's go there. Unless you're specifically going like shopping for Christmas, I'd imagine.
Right.
But short of that, just to kind of sit at home and be lazy, just because the rest of the world outside around you is probably shut down as well.
Exactly.
It's always I like that. I've always liked that feeling.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean,
when it was good, not because we had to, or
I was about to say last year was a little bit different, where it's just like I'm doing it, but
it's not by like
it's unfortunately everybody's kind of doing it too. Yeah,
like we kind of have to. Like this sucks. Yeah,
right. But it's definitely a good time for the kids to catch up on the old classics, because that's how we roll here on Geekfathers, and even some of the other parents that we know is trying to learn the history of the cinema, man. Which is, to me, you should know the history of whatever you're interested in, anyways. So for Ghostbusters, like something like Ghostbusters Afterlife, Logan hasn't seen the original movie. He wants to. We just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it. Mm-hmm. But even if he goes to see Afterlife, he'll definitely be like, "Ooh, let me see the first one now. Let me see, let me watch this," and so it's.
And well,
you have a leeway.
I will say this about Afterlife, because I know you haven't seen it, so I don't want to give any spoilers. But I would not say necessarily that if you're going to have the nostalgic, the kind of the fanboy feeling when you watch this movie, it's going to be because you grew up on the original and you love it so much.
Sure.
And it makes you feel like a kid. But if you've never seen it, you don't necessarily have to. You can go into this without having to see the original and have respect for it. And under even understand. You may not be as emotionally attached, but by the end, like you said, you'll be, oh, now I want to
It's
see the
still
original.
standalone enough to anybody new to it.
Yeah.
Well, another great example is my brother with his youngest, who's in high school. Just recently, I would say like last month or so, basically just watched all of the Star Wars movies for the first time.
All from
All
the
9.
from the OG. Oh,
All
wow.
9. And what they but see,
How did he start in sequence? Do you know that?
They did do chronological of movies, not chronological on when released.
Okay.
So because and I've seen that debate before online where it's just like, there are some kids that are, because of depending on age when it was released and stuff, they do love the prequels. They do like
They
the
were raised on the prequels and saw the
right.
originals.
They like the later movies some more, which I mean I probably like the later movies more than a lot of other people, but but that's what she at least took the interest to be like, okay, well let me see how this is laid out, and you the nostalgia is there for certain ages or certain people on when things happen. That's what people need to realize, and for something like Star Wars, you could watch out of chronological order, and I'm not talking about.
And that's going to be depending on and what point in your life you had exposure to it. I think
Right.
I didn't have exposure to the originals in the theaters. I wasn't born yet, or I was like 1 year old.
Yeah.
1 or 2 years old. But as I got older, especially I would say 89, 90 is when I caught the originals, and my brothers would watch them all the time. So we would watch them all the time.
As did my brother and I.
And I grew up on that, and so when the prequels came out, I was excited like everybody else.
Yep.
Now I'm not going to wait in line. I'm not a wait in liner.
I did it for episode 1.
Did you do it?
I
don't have it in me to do that.
I did the big episode 1 wait in line. Fortunately, I was really close to the front because it was just to show you the age of this, is that if anybody listening remembers when Chesterfield Town Center had the movie theater there, that's where I saw episode 1 for the midnight release. I was able to get there by 9 o'clock and still be like second or third in line with our group. So it wasn't heavy enough that, some of those theaters are like where people were like camping out for days. No, I am not doing that. As much as I love Star Wars and everything, I am not camping out for days on a fucking sidewalk.
Pissing into a cat, calf type situation, attached to your.
No.
I could never. I am not that. But you know what? More power to you. If you're committed to that and you're willing to put that time and that effort in. More power to you. I could not do that. Like, I would actually be willing to be, okay, I will wait. I'll wait a couple days. I have to.
And I want to say, episode 2, my brother and I did we do some rando midnight movie or something? But it was, I can't even remember what theater that one was, but they had it on enough screens for opening night that we didn't even have to get there super early.
Right. A lot of those people waiting in lines, it was crazy. It was more for doing it.
Oh yeah,
because you're going to get tickets regardless.
Yeah,
as a kid, I probably would have, just because it sounded fun. Like, I didn't have to be home. Like, I get to camp out here.
Exactly.
It's the movie theater of all places.
Yep, exactly.
With my friends, like, sure, hell no.
Right. By episode 3, I was done. I was like, no. That's where I was like, I'm not seeing it opening night. I'll just see it that weekend. So.
Yeah, well, and so, being disappointed by them more often than not.
Yeah, there was some disappointment.
Yeah. So
we're not going to dive into that. But,
when my daughter was exposed to it, she was more exposed. She had seen the originals because they'll be on TV,
right?
And she always liked them. So when the originals, the last 3 came out, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
She got attached to those more, and mostly because of Rey. Because, she was a strong female character, and she just thought she was such a badass that she wanted to be like her for the longest time. Like, we went and built lightsaber at Disney for her just so she could experience that in her mind.
That's awesome.
So that's what she got attached to. Now she'll go back with me and rewatch, and she'll watch the originals and love them. But it won't for her emotionally. It won't be like it was watching the new ones with Ray and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and Logan has watched just about all of them, and he likes certain ones, but the whole story, the layout of stuff, it's his age. It's not it's cool stuff going on. Even Leland has an idea on who the good guys and bad guys are because he loves the Star Wars game that we've got for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And he loves he'll hold his hand and make a fist, and he's the emperor on the dark side. They
all want to be villains when they're little kids. Like,
I know, it's funny.
So they want to be heroes sometimes, but it's like, so the kids, they want to be the villains.
Leland loves being the dark side. Well, also like I talked about before, where he's my little Michael Myers now too. He still does his Michael Myers walk that I talked about, and
mine used to. Yeah. It was all about the heroes. And now, as she's getting older, it's about being like the villain. She thinks the villain. Well, like Mal from Descendants, Disney's Descendants.
I haven't watched them, but I know what you're
she
referring
was
to.
Obsessed with Mal which was Maleficent's daughter. I don't remember, something like that.
It's
and she was obsessed. Like, she had the Halloween costume. She like always wanted to dye her hair like that. And after that, it was just about being like, I'm gonna be a dragon. Prince or princess, a dragon master.
She's more. She turned it more into the fantasy realm with her martial arts and doing different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And which and that's always a great progression because, like I say, it's. I mean, just seeing how the boys played, like, because my boys they're kind of like me, where they'll be random. They have certain things that they love, but they'll still like play their own games with certain stuff.
Yeah.
So it just really varies on what they do. Of course, Logan Leland is getting a little bit more into it again, but both of them are my video game junkies. That's really what we do. That's our time spent together sometimes. And it's cool because what I appreciate about that as well is that Logan also has inspiration for the technical side. Like, even in the second grade, they've worked on like computer coding.
Oh, really?
They've done some stuff like
STEM
that.
programs.
Very much like, you have this design. How do you make it move forward? How do you make it turn right? And apparently his teacher even said that he fixed a problem that nobody else could figure out.
Oh, well, hey.
So it's like
MIT, baby, scholarship.
For MIT.
You gotta look to the future on that one.
I better start that second job now then.
Yeah, or you just hope, be like, scholarship.
Grants, all the grants.
All the grants.
But that's the way he moves forward because, and the way he gets involved in, and it seems silly to us for video games and certain things, but he does get involved with like certain storylines, how things work, how they function. And I think that's one of the a couple of the main reasons on why I allow him to keep doing what he does is because he's not looking at like it's not me just sitting there having a shit day and going, I just want to kill a bunch of motherfuckers without having to literally kill a bunch of motherfuckers because I just need to relieve stress. But he's on there going, well, if I do this, I can use this technique or this certain thing to do this and do this. And I'm just like, all right, baller, calm down.
The military intelligence there.
Yeah,
that's where he's going to go to the military.
Oh, dude.
He's going to design
he's
all of the weapons.
Neil Patrick Harris in the Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
he's going to start talking to a ferret through his mind.
Or Q from Bond.
Star Trek.
No, from Bond.
Oh, Q from... I jumped way far ahead. But,
well, hey, listen, if he could become all powerful, dude, let's get together. Let's get the families together.
Make some shit happen with that, man. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, I jumped way ahead with the Star Trek Q reference there. Damn.
I mean, Q is a great character.
Yeah. But, the next Picard season...
Oh, yeah.
So
that's another show I've got to finish. Oh. Unfortunately, I try, but unfortunately, anybody out there knows that, especially if you like to binge on some shows, that doing that as a parent is very difficult. And you really have to find the right time to do it. And if it's not just your kid, it's everything else you have to do to keep everything afloat. Absolutely. You only have so much time. I mean, you really do.
Well, and
my brain's tired by the end of the day.
It's just like I'll talk to the boys, like, because we're also talking about like the holiday movie time and stuff, and even still, where it's just like, cool, let's do this. It's a good day. Let's check out this movie or do this. But it's like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and you're just like, well, crap. Because if we start this movie, it's going to go well beyond bedtime.
Yes.
And I'm not throwing off bedtime. I don't care if it's a holiday or what. You may get an extra 30 minutes or something here and there. But if we're talking like 9, 10 o'clock, still watching a movie, I mean, my kids will probably zonk out anyways.
I'm a little more giving on that. I usually, depending on the holiday.
Well, yours is a little bit older, too.
Well, it's true. But even at that time, well, I guess not even at that time. If it was a holiday, she would still, maybe New Year's, certain situations, she was allowed to stay up later than she normally would.
New Year's is probably one of the only times where I sit there, and I sit there and I say it with a smirk, because I'm just like, you stay up as late as you want, buddy. 9:30 hits, they're out. So it's like, okay, cool.
And then by 10:30, you're out, No.
Close to, these days.
You have to stand up and walk around.
That's a rookie holiday in the bars, as far as I'm concerned.
I can't go. Going out to bars is no bueno for me. I'm too old for that shit.
Too many. I still like going out to the bar. It's not like I go at all anymore, really. I wish I did, and to some extent. But there are too many stupid people. More so New Year's, but even on your average night, there could be.
Yeah.
And that's why we like New Year's, St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day is that to me is the tippity top of the worst.
The rookie holidays for drinking.
For sure.
Yeah, oh yes.
Hands down.
And it would be nice. To me, the whole thing is it would be nice to socialize, but you have to. It's to that thing of jumping through too many hoops, more so, and then still dealing with stupid people. And then jumping through hoops to get back home. Because, again, fortunately, we still have Lyft, Uber, cabs, and, a little bit more options to get home safely these days. But it's still, fucking, exhausting.
Yeah. And
way more exhausting than what you're doing when you actually go out.
Yeah. Yeah, especially trying to do that as a parent, like any parent will tell you, trying to do that, you might fight through it, but you don't really want to be there. At some point, you're just like, I just got to get home. I just want to put my feet up. I put some comfy clothes on. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I'm boomer.
Yep. This is that's probably the end all be all of an old man tangent right there. It's just like, oh, I got to go out. Fuck. Yeah.
And then you get to a point where it's like, I'm not going anywhere. No, I don't give a shit. You see this? This is where I be.
Right.
I be staying right here.
Now, I've still
crotchety old man. That's what I'm going to be.
I still go out to the shows to see some bands, because to me that's still worth it.
Bands are different.
Yeah.
It's a different
environment, different situation for sure. But that's my justification for that's my social time, and that's about it. I'd rather socialize while watching a movie with my feet up.
Yes.
My slippers on, because I'm old.
There's nothing better than that feeling of having a long day. You get into comfy clothes. You can finally sit down and maybe shut your brain down for a few minutes. You put something on and you tell yourself, I've been dying to see this fucking show. Or I've been dying to see this episode. And the moment you turn it on, you fall asleep. That's me. Sure. I get 20 minutes in and then I'm snoring.
I typically do not fall asleep during the movies. If I catch myself, if it's bad enough that I'm catching myself nodding out, I'm like, nope, bed. I'm gone. And
I don't. I'm too. I won't move.
No, because I could sleep on the couch if I wanted to, but at the same time, I'm like, it is not my bed. It is not my big old comforter that I like. My pillows. That's not there on the couch with me. It's just the couch. I may have some of my animals to snuggle up with, and that's about it. So,
fuck. If I get comfortable enough, I'm just the house could be on fire, and listen, just leave me here, okay? Just leave me. Let me go.
Just throw me in my shoes. I'll get up in a minute.
Can you just cover my feet? They're cold. I would be half asleep. Just no, it's cool. Go ahead with that. I'll see you later.
And that's probably and you just described us by 6 o'clock on Thursday this week.
Shit.
I only say 6 o'clock for me because I'll be, I have to drive home. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm going. Especially when you're in a relationship or marriage, more often than not, you might have to split your years or split your time. So we'll go.
Family's out of state. It's only my family in state.
Oh yeah. Well,
and where I refuse to travel for Thanksgiving or even Christmas, really.
No, I don't blame you at all.
I hate traveling during the holidays.
We used to as a kid. We'd go up.
Oh, so did we.
Up north.
Yeah.
All the time, especially for like Christmas and Thanksgiving. But these days, no. It's more of a. I'd rather be home.
Well, please, because that even just to even get sidetracked here for a moment, like we never do. Wink, wink, nod, nod.
Oh, we never have a plan.
Oh no.
Like if you guys, if you use this podcast to like, if it helps you sleep, we understand.
Oh yeah.
We appreciate you listening.
Very much so. Hopefully you just pick up where you left off when you realize where you fell asleep at.
Yeah.
But to me, also with traveling, I'd rather be able to go travel and enjoy my time, not worry about the extra traffic, certain other things going on. I want to go, if I go visit family, I want to go visit family, not be like, all right, we have to cram this much time in for the Christmas tree, cram in this much. No, go chill, hang the fuck out. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's it. Holidays, like we've been talking about, holidays to me are the movie time, sit back, relax. We get some extra video game time in, for sure. But no, this is the time where I'm just like, ooh, we bought that movie like 6 months ago, and even though we could watch it on streaming, I want to open up the Blu-ray and check out some of the extra features and, you know, do stuff, some more, a little bit more nerdy type shit with that.
That's one thing for sure that's different. The Blu-ray or DVD, really any physical copy of something.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot more rare. I mean, obviously we grew up going to the movie store and, you know, renting movies and, you know, going to the bins and grabbing a whole bunch of shit of them out. I'm sure people still do, but they're not as relevant anymore now that you can stream everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can tell you for damn sure my kid doesn't look in there for any of the DVDs or...
Oh, hell no.
Unless it's even the fucking video games you can download now if you've got the right thing. So
oh, for sure, yeah.
I mean, she doesn't even look. But when I go in there, I'm like, oh, that's why I kept these. You know, there's certain things. I have a few VHSs that I keep, and then she looks at them like she's like, what is that? And I was like, that's sorry. Like, I think I've seen that once before.
Yeah.
It's like...
and especially when you show them some of the older movies, you know, like from like even like the early 90s, the 80s and stuff, just because one of the best things I loved it too, so you can kind of plan out see a timeline on how things have changed. Look at the original Fast and the Furious movie, and when they, you know, they're robbing the trucks, the electronics trucks. Look at the electronics that are on that truck. When they actually open it up to show you what they're stealing.
Are they like VHS DVD combinations?
Oh yeah, dude! TV with the VHS player built into the TV and like all sorts of like.
Hey,
oh yeah,
that was PIMP at the time.
Oh
dude,
that shit.
You were rolling hard with that shit.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think you had CD players, but not DVD players. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hell, if you had that and then like a 5-disc CD player. Oh,
dude, if you had a multi-disc changer of any type, dude, you were balling.
Yeah, like the most you had was a Walkman or a Discman.
Right.
Like that's pretty much what you had.
Yeah.
And they sucked most of the time.
Yeah, because any bounce or drop or whatever happened, they were either broken or the shit was skipping, and
you'd actually have to get like a case that looked, you know, and a lot of them looked like fucking Transformers. Like you'd have to that enclosed over top of it, like just those things that they'll never care about.
Right. Which and that's always, you know, one of the great discussions, like where I say like kind of know your history as well is. Sure, do we have to collect as much of this stuff? No, but we appreciate the hard copy media. You know, for stuff. And even my kids were, like, they don't necessarily... They know how, like, a disc can be used to play something, even though it can be readily available through the streaming. But at least some positivity that still comes out of it, even if they're not using the disc, is that they'll still sit there and be like, that looks interesting. Mm-hmm. So it's still giving them the visual of the picture on the cover or the title, and they're like, ooh, that could be cool.
Well, they can. It's a physical thing to connect with as well. It's not just something they can download. And I've told my kid to make the argument that it's still relevant, and it will always be relevant because you never know what can happen, and you may always need a hard copy of something on hand.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, you never know what times can happen where you cannot download or stream anything, or. You know, God forbid the internet goes down.
I was about to say one of those weird situations where no internet, but you still have power of some type.
I didn't
know.
make up some fucking terrifying scenario for her to get scared with, but I was
No,
just like,
some
there may be,
post-apocalyptic,
some post-apocalyptic, like, when all the bombs drop, kid. Do you know what I mean? When all the bombs drop.
Why are you going to entertain yourself when the bombs drop?
Yeah, when the bomb. What are you gonna do? You hide in a cave? What? You can't stream shit.
Right.
You're gonna need a DVD.
You better hope you have a DVD player.
You get on a pedal generator, and you pop in that VHS.
Yes, give it all.
That's
give
what
it
you
all
gotta
to
do.
me.
That's what you gotta do. So that's why I say you always need a hard copy.
True. And like I said, there's still the occasional thing because you have somebody like Groot who has the rare to find stuff as well, where there's still, if say they find a certain niche into like certain movies or indie stuff or something that you can't always stream, you got to know how to like. I know we've talked about it on here before, and even some of the other GUI stuff where it's just like, remember the days where you had to go search for it.
Yeah.
Try to give a little bit of that still to the kids. Give it to them. Same thing with, again, as we go through our tangents here, the same thing with comics. Do not push, I should say, digital comics at all. Now, if you use digital comics, sure, that's cool.
Right. They've been around longer than a lot of other things.
Right.
They've been around a lot.
But you realize that is still one of the few things that is almost 100% like hard copy still.
Yeah. Currently. There's more and more artists that use those computers. McFarlane uses that to draw now.
How they create it is one thing, but the actual print on paper of some type is still one of the last, almost 100% hard copy media.
You could, but now you can do 100%, virtual, 100% digital,
sure.
and even create it through digital means, without even having a pen or paper.
Our friends over at Flash Delirium LLC, they one of the big things they did when they released their website, they have Rabbit's Badass Song, which is their first issue of what is going to be. Hopefully, fingers crossed, because the way they're going, they'll be able to do it as a huge run on this one comic. Now they're going to get into other stuff or see what they can do. But one of the first big things that they did when they released their website was 100% digital copy of a comic, like a one-shot issue,
right? That
can only be found on their website. Mm-hmm. And that's how they helped with their self-promotion. I'm just like, that's brilliant when you think about it.
Sure. Especially from a marketing perspective,
absolutely,
that's a hell of a lot easier and a lot less expensive to do it that way than to print out a bunch of fucking flyers.
Look what we can do. You have to come to us. Oh, by the way, while you're here, look at the other shit you can get as we build our main comic, and go from there.
And the overhead on that's very low. So
absolutely,
compared to anything physical that you can put out like T-shirts.
Well, especially since it's my buddy Chris. His partner / fiance, they both, I believe, she writes as well and help with the organization and do stuff. But then their main artist guy is actually in Germany.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but they built this company from scratch and totally involved with comics and stuff. Actually, Chris explains a lot. If you go back to the old Geekfathers episode, I had him on for that interview. Mm-hmm. He actually breaks down quite a bit for what him and his fiance do and how they work it out. And I'm sorry, just thinking off the top of my head, I cannot remember the guy's name in Germany, but that's what they're doing. And with Rabbit's Badass Song, because I was talking about Virginia Comic Con as well. He stopped by the table.
Yeah, I wish I didn't get a chance to meet him.
Yeah, he was there a little bit more on business.
Sure.
Because he wasn't able to get a vendor table, but he still had to talk to some people about distributing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And but if you go back and listen to that, he gives a great breakdown on what they're doing, what their plan is. And he was even telling me where we have a ferry somewhere. Did you do a podcast no?
That's what, yep. That's
you exactly did a podcast no. I'm going to have to find a new co-host now.
That's fine. How you doing?
You son of a bitch.
It's okay. You can just edit it out.
No.
Yes.
Oh, no.
The trials and tribulations of podcasting about the trials and tribulations.
Not turning off the sound on your phone?
We create our own problems, asshole. We know this.
And that's why I leave them in, because they're problems and shit happens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's why am I going to worry about 10 seconds of editing when...
That's funny. That may be the first time that's happened. I threw it on the little portable charger and forgot to turn it down. I forgot it was there because it was in front of me. Which is good, you know, good and bad. Yeah. See what I get?
Shit, we're not as refined as GY Flagship.
Sure. I think I'm not refined has anything to do with anything in this in the GUI family.
Distilled properly,
yeah,
if you will.
Right, exactly. Maybe fancy like Applebee's, but not.
Yeah. Woof. Okay. Anyways, but no. Chris has some great things going on with his fiance. She does so much work, and he still works part time. But he says that they're actually rolling enough that more and more work is going into there, where it's actually bringing back, and they're going to have issue 2 coming out soon.
Good for them.
And they have years planned out of this one series, and of course, if they can work out like getting any other series or one shots mixed in there. But you want to talk about someone who totally has appreciation for the classic hard copy media, they know they got this stay current as well. Mm-hmm. You know, and then that's really all I was getting at, besides boosting up friends of ours, because the Flash Delirium has done great things, and they're indie, they're local, and that's what we support anyway. So.
Yep. So go buy their shit.
Yeah.
Okay? I think there's a couple of comic book shops.
FlashDeliriumLLC.com,
mm-hmm.
I believe, is the site offhand.
And I imagine that has a list of where you can locate
they
their
should
comics.
be. I mean, not all the stores are local that are picking up the issues,
right.
because they were at like Knoxville Comic Con
mm-hmm.
in Tennessee a couple weekends ago, and stuff like that. But keep an eye out. Rabbit's Badass Song. It's a great comic too. Yeah. It's adult.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not a kiddie comic.
Yeah, please don't
for sure.
Geek father this. Don't be a geek parent about this.
Right.
Keep this one to yourself for a little while.
Exactly, and it's a great issue, and if from based on what he was telling me, there's some good things coming about if the cards are played right. So they've got some cool things coming out that way. But again, it comes, you know, I digress, because we were trying to talk about holiday movies, and at least holiday movie watching, and you know, if I take a moment to pump up a friend there, I'll do it.
That's fine.
So
it's progression.
Exactly.
That's fine.
But I want to get back. I want to get back to the movies, because I'm loving the extra movie time, and I want to say, like, I even have a box set I've been waiting to pull out on like some cool, fun sci-fi stuff that you definitely can't find streaming. That it's going to be one of those things where, like, if the kids are just hanging out, you just throw it into the player, let it go, and see if they like loop into it.
One of my little traditions for Thanksgiving is to, before a kid, I used to go to movies on Thanksgiving Day, like before dinner, when the theater would be open.
Oh yeah, we've done that before too. Yeah, for sure.
I used to enjoy that, because it would be dead, you know, or there might be like a handful of people in there.
Even the evening, there would be people, but not nearly as busy as it could.
And that was my movie watching. You know, I would be at home with the family as well, probably watching whatever was on TV.
Sure.
With them, but going to the movie, I used to just go by myself. I used to love that. On Halloween, right before dinner, or before dinner, whatever first showing I could go to. Yeah. Now, this is not something I'm going to do with my kid, just because, you know, we're larger family now, bigger family. I'm a dad, so...
the flexibility and the adjustment for the growing family is always there, and that's always the weirdest part with, in comparison to my nieces and nephews, at least the ones that are local with my brother, they're all older, you know, so it's like a lot of the stuff we've done, you know, where it's just like, I was the same way for a long time, where it was just like, I was single, or even if I was dating someone at one point, may not always do a Thanksgiving time together. So it was like, go eat, hang out with my parents and some of the family or friends or something, and then it'd be like, I just want to go watch a movie before I go home, or, you know, just
can I zone the fuck out, unbutton my pants, like,
exactly,
you know,
where can I go that no one is going to bother me, no one is going to talk to me, It was the theater.
I come from a larger Italian family, or Irish Italian family.
Right.
So when I was a kid and we would go up north for Thanksgiving, at the end it was very cliche. In wherever I was at was always, like the men were on the couch, and buttons unbuttoned.
Football game on or something.
Yeah, just sitting there, bellies as fat as humanly possible.
Yep.
For their size, like that's what Thanksgiving was to me for long time.
Yeah.
It's a lot less that now, but I enjoy.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I wish I could give my kid that, but at the same time, I like you get used to those traditions that you've now created with your family.
For sure.
And for ours is a small gathering. Like unfortunately, I don't have her for Thanksgiving this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I get her the day after.
Right.
So it's close enough. So obviously it's not going to be the same. But
there are still little things that you guys will be able to do to create the new traditions, to have still a great experience, just not what it could have been or used to be, or however you want to put it.
Well, in that situation, that's all that you can do.
Exactly.
Anything can be a cool tradition if it's just something you're doing and you
enjoy.
As long
as you're enjoying it and you're with or even without the people that you do or do not want there. Mm-hmm. Because for years, usually, I've always been, like I said, we don't travel during the holidays, but for years, we were always, between my parents, my brother and I, we were usually the house that brought in the strays. Like if a friend was having trouble at home, it would be our house that they usually stayed at, or different things like that. Well, that even grew for a Thanksgiving tradition for us, where for years, we were the ones that brought in, well, if you don't have a place to go for Thanksgiving, but you do want that family environment, so to say, we did that. So much so, it got so big at one point, we rented out the hall at their neighborhood pool, because we would have so many people. Now, you still need to bring in something, or, bring some food, try to share, cook up. You got some great recipes.
Bring your own beer.
Oh, yeah, BYOB for sure. Yeah, absolutely. But, we had a great setup there. But really, if you really have to take any positive things that happened because of the quarantine, that was basically our switch to bring it down a notch and be like, everybody is... Because a lot of our strays started having their own families. They were finding their own circle of... like their own family unit and stuff like that.
It's funny about traditions is that traditions don't last forever, which would isn't that, I guess, counterintuitive to the name in itself? Like, tradition is something that lasts.
Well, tradition just says that's something that you do on a regular, consistent basis.
But what makes it a tradition in terms of consistency? I've always wondered this because I'm like, I want to make this a tradition with my kid. Okay, so obviously we do it this year. So if we do it the next year, does that make it a tradition? Or does it have to be after 2, 3, 4?
I would say 2 or more times of doing the same action, or at least similar enough action to do it.
It doesn't have to be the same place as long as it's the same people.
The place can be involved with it, but doesn't have to be.
That's an interesting... because...
because everybody... Dude, you take a look at so many different traditions, and then they vary over the years. You have to ebb and flow with this stuff.
Right.
And that's where... But the whole thing is there's no rule on when it has to stop. Start. Because a lot of times traditions start by accident. You just don't realize it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh... We're doing this because we want to do the traditional thing.
So before it's a tradition, it's a proto-tradition. Like for the first 2 or 3, first 2 years.
It's a fluid tradition.
It's a fluid.
Because it's happening very naturally and everything. But I don't think there's ever been a rule of when a tradition stops other than anybody who doesn't want it to stop.
If you've reached a certain number to where it becomes a tradition and it stops... It's only no longer a tradition if it never happens again and consistently, I would think. So it's like, okay, we haven't gotten together for 5 years, but this used to be our tradition. So moving forward, we'll do this, consistently.
You're technically starting, in my opinion, you're technically starting a new tradition, even if it's based on a previous one.
I don't know. Is it only new if anything changes? See, these are the things I think sometimes. These keep me awake.
No, and again, it all depends because, like I said, right now, thanks to quarantine and COVID last year, But the way things were getting is that, this gathering of the strays, air quote on that, was kind of becoming redundant. Because even though my parents would still, where you can, bring in the military personnel, say, from, Fort Lee, to give them a place to, have a holiday if they couldn't make it home. They stopped that because of quarantine regardless. So, that, that's out. But so many of these other people started having their own family units and stuff when they were just, maybe a single mom with a kid, or different variations of bringing in, going, oh, you don't have family, at least locally, or you're in a situation, come at least be in a safe environment, with good people, good food type thing, where it honestly started, and to me, this is where tradition dies, good or bad, where, people just weren't, we appreciated everybody who does it, but people pitching in weren't exactly pitching in. So to say, I brought
it was tradition for them to come and not do shit.
Right. And here's a 2-liter of soda for 30 plus people. Really?
Come on, boy.
Come on
now.
You could at least grab a pie or two from the store. I know there's still something out there. Cookies.
That's some bullshit.
Right. But and it's nothing against the people. It's just that, they didn't know any better, or just in their mindset of a traditional or how they function. And that really was our switch to go, let's go back to basics.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I've done, gone to other people's traditional stuff before, and where I had been a part of it. And I don't always know, do we have to bring wine to the house? Do we do this? Do we do that? What is proper? Is it considered proper here, but it's not considered proper there?
Right.
I mean, the best that you can do is if what you would like, respectfully.
Exactly. Well, and ask. I mean, really, worst case scenario, ask. Hey, man, is there something that I should bring, that I can bring, that I shouldn't bring? Because there are some families where it's not a good idea to bring your own 6-pack because Uncle Joe or something might be stealing one when he shouldn't be, when he's in AA and on parole or something.
Right.
That's a totally made up scenario, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's totally there.
Is it made up? Do we need to have a special conversation after this?
No.
Okay. We're going to have a special conversation.
No, because I'll say straight. I won't say names, but I definitely have family that we won't bring alcohol around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just straight up that it's nobody local, and it's for their health, mental, physical, and otherwise. It's better not to just have any alcohol around.
I completely understand that.
Yeah.
I have family members over time where we've just you are not allowed to. You go too far.
And this person knows it. They know that they're not supposed to have anything. They don't, at this point, they don't fight it. They're at an age, too, where they're just fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
But, you also don't want to open the temptation for something to happen as well. Mm-hmm. So you just let it go.
Yeah.
So.
Good. Well, that's a tradition in itself, isn't it?
Well, we don't see them on the holidays anyway, so it's all
okay.
Good. Yeah, so it doesn't. So I will be drinking whatever the fuck I want to drink.
Good for you.
Yes.
So I'm drinking something now.
As am I.
I have finished my week for work.
I still have technically one more day, but I better not deal with any bullshit. But that's a different scenario. Either way, Thanksgiving and that Friday is off. I will say that, guys, whatever tradition you choose, however you are, like we already mentioned a million times, however you're spending the holiday, hopefully it's in a positive fashion, I guess is the best way to put it. Just make
hopefully you have somewhere to spend it and people to spend it with, and
or even if you are by yourself. Like I said, as long as that's a positive thing for your mental and physical well-being, so be it.
And if it if it ever gets to be too much, there's a lot of resources out there for you to reach out to, or
absolutely,
you can reach out to Geekfathers. Send us a message, and we'll be happy to respond.
Yep, across all the social media. Let's see if I can remember off the top of my head again. It's been a while. But Twitter, we're at Geekfather1, at Geekfather the number 1. Mm-hmm. The email, if you really want to truly be anonymous, is geekfatherpodcastgy@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. Of course, Facebook is just the Geekfathers. Instagram, I believe, is still GeekfatherGY.
I don't think that's changed.
I don't think that's changed. Sometimes it's hard to change the title since we officially changed the show a little bit. But you guys know how to find us. Obviously, you look for 2 shiny bald heads and smiling faces.
That's right.
For that.
Bunch of doofy motherfuckers.
Exactly.
But we got a lot of heart.
Right. So I am going to give a 50-50 news announcement here. Let's start with the happy news. As you've
Feed it
heard,
to me.
Feed it to you. As you've heard on previous episodes, there are friends in the Virginia Beach area. Their daughter, Kimber, who is going through the second time with cancer. As of last Friday, she did do her last chemo. She's officially done with chemo. There are still some things ahead, but Team Kimber is still going strong. Definitely one more hurdle, unfortunately, that this little lady has had to do, but she's staying strong, staying positive whenever possible. But keep that in mind, guys. So if you look up Team Kimber, it's definitely something to you can help contribute to, especially with the holidays coming up. The parents have done, everything they can, and of course financially is never fun with dealing with this. Right. So. On a sadder note, as we've talked about our friend Danimal, who we lost back in October, if you did know Dan or wanted to at least help or any condolences you wanted to give in person, on Friday the 26th, the day after Thanksgiving, there is going to be basically a friend service social gathering at Hardywood, the OG campus, from about 2 to 5, if you wanted to come out, raise a glass to the Danimal there. And that's what I'm going to leave. I know we've talked about Dan, and definitely not to, I don't want to dwell on the sadness that it is, unfortunately, of losing a brother like that. But there is that. It's a celebration, really. Let's have a good time, even in times that are not the greatest.
As I say, it's a proper time to mourn their death and a proper time to celebrate their life. And this is definitely one of those moments where you can celebrate somebody's life.
This is the celebration of life part for sure, guys. So feel free to join us. Come out, say hello, give proper respect to a brother. And then other than that, guys, like we've said, hopefully the holidays are going well. We know it's probably for a lot, it's the most stressful time of year. So do what you need to stay safe, mentally sound, positive, everything there's a lot going on. So reach out, be good. If you are also looking for even another group just as a way to help out, we still, of course, have full support to Mason's Toy Box Foundation. If you're looking for a great group just to, if, again, this is the time of year where most people do the contributions and everything, that's a great group to help out as well. So I just definitely don't want to leave them in the dark, because I know we both, Smash and I, give full support to that group as well. And of course, if you do want to just maybe support a bunch of degenerates instead, feel free to go to GUIpodcast.com. Of course, that's where you can catch all of our episodes, GUI Flagship, From the Mouths of Madness, all the other great shows under the Geeks Under the Influence Network.
Check out tpublic.com too. I mean, they're
right.
awesome, and the quality is right.
The link is right there on GUIpodcast.com, and put in your orders now if you are planning on buying Christmas gifts, still want to try to get any of the remaining holiday pictures, whatever. I'm having trouble thinking of the word.
The holiday pictures?
The holiday designs.
Oh, the holiday
the
designs?
Halloween holiday designs.
Ah, yes. The pictures on the clothes.
Yes.
Okay,
there
gotcha.
you go. I believe those are still up, but they're very, very limited on time there. But guys, put in your orders with TeePublic if you need anything from GUI for the holiday season.
There's tons of fun designs. I mean,
fun
for
designs,
all kinds.
Fun things to get. It doesn't even have to be the T-shirts. There's all sorts of other cool little mugs and whatever else you can think of.
Yeah, you get banana hammocks. I mean, really whatever you need.
I don't know why you're bringing up banana hammocks. That's just gross. But guys,
I'm gonna get one for you for Christmas, buddy.
Ooh, I'll wear it over too.
You should. Well,
yeah, be careful.
You know
there.
what? I guess it's my fault.
Yep,
it's my fault.
Yep.
Just have to make sure it doesn't scare the dog.
Apparently, everything I do scares your dog. So, but guys, thank you very much for joining us. I know it's been an old man tangent, but the holidays, we love them, but we know it can also be a stressful time. So, guys, again, just remember, stay positive. We love you guys. We're one community, one group. And don't forget, join us.
Or cry.
In a world ravaged by movie studios that keep rehashing the same things, only one podcaster has the guts to make it even worse. Join Mike the Hobbit as he traverses the internet to bring you some of the best and worst ideas for reboots, remakes, and reimaginings of some of your favorite and least favorite TV and film properties. Ideas like a John Waters He-Man movie, Fantastic Four the musical, and Aliens, done entirely with marionettes. What podcast would bring this evil upon the world? This is Smack My Pitch Up. Available anywhere you get your podcasts.
GUIPodcast.com.